Hey, blade fans, it's automatic knife day. That might interest some of you, and it may turn some of you away because you can't have them or don't think you can have them or what have you. I am OG Blade Reviews, and here is Heretic. Yes, Heretic is an interesting company because we can't really call it an offshoot of Microtech, but the owner, Anthony Jr. Marfione, owns Heretic Knives, whereas Anthony Marfione Sr. owns Microtech. So they're sort of related in that way. Interesting box. And here is what it is. Yes, the Wraith V4 Auto. Bowie bead blast. Got this, and the handles in blue is very cool looking. Got this from directly from NC Blades or NC Blade singular in North Carolina, and they are a great place to get your auto knives, Microtech, even manual knives, Custom Knife Factory, all sorts of brands. Kind of an interesting magic act here, where you see the name Heretic come out from this little opening here on the tab. They did something unique, got to give them credit. So I'm going to give us just a little more exposure. No, wrong way. There we go. And there you have it, right inside, right away. Don't have the plastic bag. Took that off when the knife came out the first time, but let's get straight to it. This is what you've got. It is a beauty. It is a large out the side auto coming in at 3 3/4 inches. We're going to get all the salient measurements in just a moment, and we're going to do some compares. Might even do a paper cut. Ooh. So you've got blue anodized aluminium for those of you in the UK and Australia and wherever. Still haven't figured that one out, breaking the vowels down, but that's how they like to pronounce it. This is a traction, kind of a rubbery traction grip stuff that wing walk, whatever you want to call it. It's the same thing that Microtech is using in like their SOCOM Elites, which is a similar sort of a knife. No safety, single button, really interesting pivots, kind of a gear sort of looking pivot on both sides. I haven't measured that, but it's up around a T20, T25, something like that. I wouldn't go messing with auto knives unless you really know what you're doing. If you've taken them apart before, you're going to find there's a big coil spring inside there. And that is sometimes a bear to get out and put back in again. In some knives, you can actually adjust the tension on that. I don't think that's the case with the Heretic. All right, no further hesitation. Bang. Yeah, I know Jared says bang. I got to figure out a different word for the auto knives especially. But look at that beauty. That is a handful too. And yet it is very slim in the handle. Carries very well. It's not a deep carry. It has a clip very reminiscent of most of the manual and out the side Microtechs, where you have that little wave thing going on in there. And it was explained to me to be a two-stage clip. So you've got contact there, you've got less contact there, so you could actually carry it with more out of the pocket. Microtech mounts theirs a little higher, so you get a deeper carry. This one will leave you with about 1 inch sticking out of your pocket. You got a nice dome head screw there to pull on should you need the traction. And it is reversible in this case to the left side of the knife. That little spacer comes out, and you see this kind of hooks into the lanyard hole and with one screw, and we're inletted here. So you don't get any wobble, no looseness whatsoever. Got an interesting, for the lack of a better term, fuller here. And the steel is Magnacut. Gotta say what the steel is, Magnacut. And it's my understanding that Heretic is bringing their Magnacut up there well over 60, 61. Don't take my word for it, but if you want to research that, you may. I don't see them putting out soft steels. I think they're damn hard. And it is a Bowie clip, sort of a blade. It is not a Bowie knife. For those that like to critique on that, who are experts on the Bowie knife, it is a Bowie style or Bowie style blade, however you like to pronounce that. Down south, they like to say Jim Bowie. Up in the north, sometimes we say Jim Bowie. David Bowie, maybe that's what's the influence. Rest in peace, Dave Bowie. Bowie or Bowie. Got some really nice jimping near the pommel, and it is a handful. Got a really nice jimping here on the blade, just enough traction. It grabs without removing skin from your thumb. You want to go a little further out, you've got a nice thumb swale there. And that is a Piercy pointy blade. Let's check that action a few more times. I'm not going to attempt closing it with one hand. It's about as powerful, or maybe even a little more so, than a ProTech. We'll put it up against the ProTech, which I have over on the side here. I have an ATCF ProTech designed by Bob Terzuola. Let's get some measurements. As I said, you can see my hand jump around. That is no slouch, no wimp when it comes to the spring power. Overall, this knife is 8 3/4 inches with a blade of 3 3/4 inches and a cutting edge about 3.65, because you've got a significant choil area in there. It's significant enough that you can place your thumb on that platform when you want to choke up and still hopefully not get nicked by that little heel of the blade there. Other measurements in inches. The handle, 0.49, as I was saying. It is thin. Now I'm getting a 5.0. What do we want it to be here? We're going to call it a 4.9, 0.49. And the blade thickness, very robust, 0.15. That's probably going to be 4 millimeters. Nope. Oh, always run into this problem. You can't squeeze it too tight or too loose. I'm going to call it a 3.9. How about that? Let's get a scale out here and see what she weighs. Fairly light knife, I must say. Close her up for this measurement. And what do we have? 4.3, we'll call that. 4.3 ounces. You know, feels even lighter than that. Really well balanced. And for a balance, we've got a balance right there. So the blade's a little heavier than the handle. If I was back here, it'd be too heavy. It's right near the front of that finger groove. Yeah, right at that line of demarcation between the grip tape there and the handle. Not sure if this is steel or not. I think it's steel, yeah. So the backspacer is steel. Clip is steel. Looking through a monitor. That's why I look like I'm doing this cross-eyed or something. So yeah, and so we've got all steel plus aluminum and obviously a Magnacut blade. How sharp is it? Let's find out. Nice. Yep. Yep. I'd say it's not perfectly sharp out of the box, but definitely a good working edge based just on the paper. Don't have any pork loin out here to test it on. That gets kind of messy, you know. How about a compare? Well, I've got this fancy Microtech SOCOM Elite that has been heavily modded by BJ Hill down in North Carolina. Speaking of North Carolina, and the blade was reground by somebody with a well-known knife, kitchen knife company, I think on the West Coast, and I don't remember the name, but we've got cocobolo wood in here, and we've got aluminum on the handle. There's your Microtech clip, very similar with that little wave in there to the Heretic clip. It is a bigger knife overall. Didn't realize how much longer the SOCOM was, SOCOM Elite. From that, so we got 3 3/4. We got a full 4-inch blade, I believe, on that, and we've got a button that is quite raised, but still plenty of snap on this guy. I would say this, the Heretic, and the Stitch Auto from Microtech are good examples of powerful springs. Here, wow, that's the Microtech. This Microtech, I believe, is, and I'm going to have to look this up for you. It is an ATCF with a traffic pattern. Apparently, Bob Truzzuola's wife, and I think I called this a Microtech before I came back with the description of it. It is a ProTech S45VN on this, and that's a traffic pattern that Bob's wife designed for this knife. So it is the ATCF blade style, ProTech, Truzzuola, and that's a smaller knife, 3.5 inches on the blade on that one. Let's see if we can get them as even as possible. So yeah, we've got a good inch longer overall on the Heretic, and about a 1/2 inch longer on the blade. That's about right. Put the ProTech away and the Microtech away. Let's see, how about it compared to a well-known manual knife? Here's the Benchmade Freak. Went looking for my Benchmade out the side autos, like the Claymore. Couldn't find them in time for the review. Got a knife here that is the same size overall, with almost the same length blade. So blade on the Freak, which is kind of like a version of the Griptilian, that's 3.5, a little more, about 3.6 inches. So 375, as I was saying on this one. You're getting a lot of blade. Getting a lot of blade for the handle here. You can see that comes out there pretty far. One thing I noticed on this is you've got to be careful because the point of that blade is slightly available to your finger right there. It just starts prickling my finger because your finger is going to press in. But the way this is carrying with the point up and the blade back, I don't think you're going to run into that problem. You'd have to get your finger and stroke it down through there. I used to do the hot dog test for those. You take a hot dog, kind of simulates the finger, and you press it in there to see if it slices it. This would slice it, I think. So that's one critique I have of this knife, is that either change the shape of the blade, which I don't think they'd want to do, make it slightly shorter or create a little bit more handle with some protection, or alter the handle in such a way that this isn't cut away here. And that would give you more protection against the tip, which tends to have a little bit of an upturn, fairly straight, but right in here it hooks. I'm not too concerned about it. I'll carry this without too many worries. This comes in a lot of different configurations, and you can check it out on NC Blades. I would do NC Blade or possibly Southern Edges if you are looking for the Heretic out the side autos and out the front autos. They're really coming along with their designs, and they're using Magnacut in quite a few of their blades. Hope you enjoyed this, and you know, if you can't get auto blades in your area, hopefully at least this is interesting for you. If you can carry auto blades, and I couldn't carry this out in the street legally either, but I can have it as part of the collection legally and have it delivered to my home here in the Northeast. Once again, be well. Here's my logo over here. Click on that if you want to subscribe. And don't forget to give this vid a like. I'll be back soon.